very pleasant good morning, good afternoon, or good evening to wherever you are. This is HealthSparx. I'm your host, Michael Walsh. So glad you could join us today. Another awesome entrepreneur on tap for today. The founder of PT Pal, Naveen Khan, is joining us. Again, right here in Dallas as part of the Health Wildcatters Accelerator Program. She is my third interview, I believe. I did Kinesio Connect and Remind Technologies last week and got two more on tap this week. Naveen and then also Make My Plate will be joining us as well. So very excited to welcome Naveen today. Want to give a quick shout out to all of the startups at Health Wildcatters and all the startups really all over the world listening to this. Keep hustling, keep up the good work, especially those in healthcare. Lots of work to be done here. It's been a big news week as far as startups are concerned with the Jobs Act and all the stuff going on with crowdfunding. So very excited to see everything happening right now in startup ecosystems all over the world. I've had some conversations this week with former guests even of HealthSparx, Jason Barrick-Lewis, Amy Ohm of Treatment Diaries. Everybody's still kicking ass and taking names. So keep after it, people. Again, Naveen today, you'll hear her bio in just a second. Another example of a true hustler. She's been all around the world getting ready to launch PT Pal, which I believe she got out this summer. So very excited to share her story and everything that she's doing with all of you. So let's get started. Naveen Khan, the founder and CEO of PT Pal. All right, everybody, today on HealthSparx, I am joined by Naveen Khan, the co-founder, founder and CEO of PT Pal, excuse me. Naveen is a very well-traveled person for sure. She's been all around the world doing business. A little bit about her bio. She was a director at the Los Angeles Orthopedic Hospital. Her prior experience includes a successful technology startup. She was the VP of Parts Check Live. Prior to joining there, she was a trial consultant and worked with Fortune 500 companies as well as being a global business analyst at Capital International, all the while earning her postgraduate diploma in law from the University of Law in London. So wow, what a bio. Naveen, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So the story of PT Pal is a bit personal. Like there was something that happened to you that sort of motivated this whole thing. So share that story with us. How did this thing get started?
Well, I had a bone marrow biopsy about 3 years ago, and it hurt my back, and I needed to get physical therapy. So I was looking for physical therapy. I went to a physician and physical therapist, and every time I went, they would give me pieces of paper or oral instructions, which I promptly forgot and misplaced the paper.
In what years was this again? How long ago was this?
Gosh, this is 2010 or 11.
So it's not like this was like 1999 or something while the internet was still figuring itself out. This was like within the last couple of years. People are still handing you paper.
Yeah, where they make mobile apps and...
So, I mean, did that make the process for you to recover that much more difficult just because you didn't have any tools that you really could use?
Yeah, I was getting worse actually, and that's what prompted me to be more diligent. My back was hurting, and it was having repercussions elsewhere.
So what did you build?
I built a tool that I would want to use. I actually looked for it and it didn't exist. So it's a comprehensive set of exercises, videos and pictures that you can personalize. So you can pick your own exercises, put it on your own menu, and then put your second sets and reps in and rest seconds, and it actually counts for you, because who wants to sit there counting to 30?
Sure. Almost like a personal trainer in your pocket, in a way.
Yeah. And personal trainers do use it because it has that counting ability and the rest seconds in between.
So iOS only, Android, iPad? I mean, what have we rolled out so far? Because you are live, correct?
Yes, we've been live since May, and it's doing well. We have it on iOS, now Android, tablet, and iPads.
So how much does this cost for me to get started with this? I mean, so what's the real value here?
It's right now it's $16.99, and we're probably going to change that shortly. But it comes with a web portal, so medical professionals can actually communicate with the patient remotely.
Sure. So that's a good segue. So you mentioned personal trainers. Who are you going after to use this thing? Because I know you've got some pretty incredible partners so far as well. So walk us through that piece of this.
Yeah, I have initially thought it would be great for physical therapists, But when organically, gyms have seen it and they've come up to me and said, we are tired of dealing with people's paper. We would like to use your tool. So I've had gyms approach me. Trainers have downloaded it. So there's gyms, the medical community. So physical therapists and chiropractors use it in their office, which enables them to sort of see multiple patients at once and not have to have a PTA standing there counting for the patient is huge for them. It's a real time saver. And then hospitals and data-driven companies, so companies that want data.
I mean, really going back to the original problem, and I know we've brought this up and talked about it here, non-compliance is a huge issue. I mean, so you can talk about the use of paper and you're not doing all this stuff. Non-compliance is a huge issue for people out there, regardless of if you're going to a PT, a chiropractor or not. So how can this really solve that? I mean, again, it makes it all easy for you, but what's the real long-term vision of this?
Yeah.
Like, how can that really make this better?
Well, non-compliance is huge and it increases costs, readmissions, unnecessary surgeries. I'm sure if I had let my back go, I would have had to have some sort of surgery or something would have happened. So yeah, non-compliance is really big, and I think the way we solved it was provide the data that people need, like facilitate exercises, facilitate their medical care, and make it personalized to them. And change their habits. I mean, everybody, without being too disruptive. So everybody has a phone. They keep it with them all the time. You can do this anywhere, anytime. There's just no excuses. You're in the office, do it. You're on a plane or, hotel room, whatever. You can do it. But it's a matter of facilitating the exercises and fitting into people's lifestyles. So you're not going to go home and go, oh, let me boot up the computer and do my exercises from a website, or let me find those papers and instead of making dinner or playing with the kids, you can just get your phone out and go, oh, I know it's here. It's going to take me 10 minutes. I'm just going to, press start and do it.
How did you design the user experience? Did you actually sit with some other patients that gave you feedback like in real time, or because I know there's, and I've talked with some other people about this here as well, there's this gaming element that's becoming huge in healthcare, right? Rewarding people for doing things. So how did you build this? How did you really understand what people would want?
Well, firstly, I knew there were certain things I wanted, like a whole library of exercises that people could choose from. So I had the core idea down, and then I sketched it out and did a wireframe, and then I went out and asked people if this was a good idea. And it definitely evolved over time to what it is now.
It's always ugly at the beginning, right?
it was bright blue. So it was, and so between me, the developers who have a lot of experience in UI interfaces and things, and user experience, and patients, and opinions of just the general public, it kind of came together.
You've got some pretty incredible partners with you that have sort of been working through this. Like, you mentioned Kaiser, some of these guys. So talk about those guys and what you're doing with them and how that's really made a huge impact on you.
Yeah, so I was lucky that first Cedar's doctor, Cedar's took it on, and he thought it was absolutely fantastic and started recommending it to his physician friends and colleagues, and then his wife uses it. She's a neurologist, and then it sort of spread around there, and they use it with their patients. And then children's doctors at Children's wanted to use it, so they downloaded it. The individual doctors, and then I went to Kaiser, and there were a couple of doctors that downloaded it there, and so we're in talks at the moment and about piloting. So.
What are some of the other options out there for patients to use now? I mean, I know we talk about the antiquated paper, and books and things like that, but what else is out there to help with this non-compliance issue for PT?
Yeah, well, from the research I've done, most people are still using paper and oral instructions, even the very highly advanced, amazing PT clinics. So the other opportunities out there in terms of tools for them are apps that are very specific and very technical. So they're focused towards the provider.
Right.
My app is very patient focused and provider focused, so it's easy for both of them. It's not complicated. You choose your exercises. It's pretty akin to paper, so they're not moving away from their workflow too much. In fact, they're incorporating less. They have less steps in their workflow. So there's apps that are highly complicated and very specific to an area of the body, like back pain. And then there's Connect, which is very different to what we're doing.
Yep.
Because it's home based, and then there's websites, and they haven't moved the marker on anything. I mean, they've been around for 20 years, and they have not. It hasn't changed the way people do exercises or delivered care.
Well, and especially with personal trainers, such an opportunity because, I've worked in some gyms myself training clients, and even the systems that we still use with clients that we're working with for 6 to 12 months, it's still very papered and antiquated, driven. It's very old school. So to have something like this where you could just very, very quickly pull it out and be like, okay, you're not quite getting it the way I'm explaining it, but here, look at this, study this, work with this, and this could maybe really help, that client or that patient really take it to that next step. So that's so huge. And I think that's probably something that you would probably walk around and tell people, this is what makes us better, right?
Yeah.
This is that added value that we bring.
Yeah, it's definitely added value, and it says you care about your client or patient. So you have this investment, and you're watching them. You're keeping them in the loop, or you're not just losing them once they walk out of the door, and that's really important because right now, once that patient walks out the door, you don't know what they're doing. At least you can give them tools to help them, and you can keep them accountable.
How can you be able to tell people out there that use this that PT Pal was really able to make an impact? How can you measure success?
I think we, at the moment, are doing it through qualitative and quantitative data that we take from the PTs and the patients that are using the app. Mm-hmm. So we track the care. So you can see whether they did the exercises, the date, the time, whether it was effective, how many sets they did. And that's huge for predictive behavior and predicting what works in physical therapy down the road.
Sure.
So today we're talking about compliance, and tomorrow the future is predictive behavior and better healthcare.
And I can't remember if we brought this number up. What is the non-compliance number right now?
Non-compliance is 60 to 90%.
And what would you like to see that number come to in the next, let's say 5 years?
I think it would be this is extreme, but I'd love to see in the next 5 years that it comes to about 30%.
That'd be great. That's a big jump. In thinking about your patients, your user base, and the problems that you're trying to help them solve personally, other than the paper and all this other stuff, what's their biggest complaint? What do you hear from these people?
That they literally cannot remember their exercises. They don't want to count them out. They don't, the app calendars, reminders, and alerts you to when your exercises are meant to be done. They're not just complaints from them, but there's been white papers and research on why people don't comply, and
Sure.
It's because they don't have the information. They don't have the feedback and the connection with the medical professional that they need to motivate them. And there's other factors, but they're the main factors, just having that information at hand.
We talked about your bio. You've been around the world, literally, doing business, going to school. You've seen a lot of things. You've met a lot of people. And we know you here in Dallas to be quite the hustler, quite the networker. What are you most excited about right now in terms of the healthcare and business environments? Just this week, that new piece of the Jobs Act came out, so crowdfunding is a big topic right now. Startups are able to go and solicit and raise money. All sorts of reforms going on in healthcare. What excites you, other than physical therapy, as we look forward the next 5 years?
What really excites me is the ACA, the Affordable Care Act, and all that it's coming with, the incentives, all that is really exciting. But I am really excited about the data that is being generated on an individual basis that could make a difference to the population at large. And sort of this learning process in healthcare about what is and isn't working, and the psychological, sociological area of human behavior. So, is what technology is going to work long term? What's sustainable? Is Fitbit really sustainable? Are we constantly going to get up in the morning and put things on our bodies?
Right. I haven't got to play with that whole system yet, but I've heard mixed reviews myself. Like, some people really like it, some people absolutely hate it.
Yeah, and some people say it just, for them, it doesn't work. And so I'm really interested in what's sustainable and what's going to last in healthcare.
And what we can actually prove.
Yeah.
Right? Like, we can, like you said, with predictive behavior, like, we saw that this is what people did.
Yeah, how can we use data in a meaningful way to change people's life and make the healthcare system better?
So that being said, what advice do you have for patients out there? I mean, there's a huge movement right now towards empowering patients, educating patients. I mean, what's your advice to all these people?
Yeah, you mentioned empowering, and I think, for someone, I have lupus, and I've had sort of complications, and so I think after my experience, my personal experience and business experience, I would say personalize your care as much as possible. Find out what the options are. There's so many technologies out there now that are broad and much more helpful than they used to be. But I would say personalize your care. Take control of it and figure out what's best for you, and not what the newest fad is. But yeah, definitely try and be at that cutting edge of technology in healthcare.
Well, and you say that too from not only the business perspective, but from personal perspective, because that was you 3 years ago, literally. You were in this position all of a sudden having to learn.
Yeah.
And all someone did for you was hand you a book or a piece of paper and say, here, go.
Yeah. Because you have to take care of yourself at the end of the day. No, physician or physical therapist, however nice they are and amazing, they're not going to be by your side constantly and say you need to do this. So taking control of what you need and how you can get the best results for you is so important. And that's what's so great about technology. It's allowing you to do that.
Awesome. Well, this was great. I mean, PT Pal, definitely all you listening out there, go check it out. It's in the App Store. Is it Android too?
Yes.
Okay, Android as well. So go check it out in Google. $16.99, like she said, and maybe we'll even put together some sort of promotion or coupon for people that listen to the episode to go out and grab it or something like that. But I've had a chance to play with it a little bit, and again, from a personal trainer standpoint, it is excellent. So for any trainers out there that are looking for some sort of mobile tool to go use, definitely check it out. So this has been great. Thank you so much for stopping by, and best of luck with everything.
Thank you, Michael.
And that'll about do it for today. Thanks so much to Naveen for joining us. Incredible story. Love her product. Definitely go check it out in the App Store and on Google. Again, it's PT Pal is the name of it. Could be huge for any of you who go through physical therapy or chiropractics or are just looking to get in better shape or anything like that. This could really be a tool for you to go and use. So one last time, thanks Naveen. You're awesome. I want to just remind everybody, please subscribe to the show. Go to healthsparx.com/subscribe. Just my way of delivering episodes to your email box. If you don't want to catch them on Twitter, if you can't remember to get to the website each week to check out all this great new content, it's definitely worth it to have me just deliver it. I promise it's easy, no spam, none of that bullshit, just all good content. So subscribe. The last thing is iTunes and Stitcher Radio. You can find us there as well. Very easy to just go subscribe or follow us in those forums and get the content through there. So another great show. Really appreciate all of you checking in. Hope you have a good week. Until then, I'm your host, Michael Walsh. We will talk to you soon.